Okay, today Marcel is going to show us how to make pesto. And we're doing pesto because right now in the garden we have lots of basil. And so when we have lots of basil, we have lots of pesto. So Marcel, do you want to tell us what the key ingredients are?
The main ingredient on pesto is of course basil, which we have here. We need nuts, and the classic recipe asks for pine nuts, but we substitute cashews. There might be a little bit difference in the flavor and in the texture, but it's okay.
But then, why do you substitute it?
Well, the main reason for us is economically pine nuts are very expensive and cashews are a little bit less expensive.
Okay.
So they're more reasonable, so to speak. We have garlic, which is optional. You don't have to have garlic. The real recipe does not request garlic, so if you don't like it, just leave it out. We need slivered salt. We need lemon juice for the color, to keep the color of the basil, because basil discolors real easily into brownish, ugly, nasty, not very nice looking. And we have olive oil, and we have of course grated Parmesan. The key to it is to take the cashews, what we do is about maybe 2.5 ounces in a food processor, and we add the garlic to it, and then we make kind of a puree out of this here. So that's the base, like the bottom of it. I'm just going to turn that food processor.
Now, is it important to have exact quantities, or can you just kind of eyeball it?
No, you can just eyeball it. I have it lined up here in a certain way, so to give you an idea what about the proportions are. But if you like more nuts, you can use more. If you like less nuts, you can use less nuts. If you want to make it more runny, you need more olive oil. You want to be very careful with the lemon juice and with the salt. You don't want to make it sour or salty. And keep in mind, the Parmesan here has also salt already in it. This is about 6 ounces of leaves only from the basil. You don't want to use any stems. You don't want to use any flowers. And if you can, you would like to pick the basil as young as possible, not let it go to flower. Because once it starts blooming, the flavor is really over. It's not what you like. It's becoming kind of almost harsh. It's not delicate anymore, as basil is supposedly used to be. This, I add the salt in between, to sprinkle it in between. I add my lemon juice, which is about...
That's okay.
which is about 2.5 tablespoons, and I push the rest of my basil in there too.
There's nothing there. Let's bark at it.
Okay. Then we go ahead, close the lid, and run the food processor. And while the processor is running, I'll add the olive oil slowly to make a paste. Of course, now we have the paste here, and now we add the Parmesan cheese to it. Of course, you can run it even more and to make it more smooth and more creamy, but keep in mind the rapid motion of the blade in the food processor really heats things up real quickly in here, so you don't want to overdo it. And if you don't like it, I think it's okay to have it kind of the texture to
chunky,
it, so that it's not like
baby food,
creamy sauce with nothing on it. Yeah.
Now, can you make this in a blender?
I would not recommend it in a blender.
No.
Because it's sitting on the bottom in the blender, and the top will not process it. You will have almost a gooey mess on the bottom, and the leaves will not be all the way incorporated. You can do it in a mortar and a pestle if you like to use a lot of elbow grease, and then you can do it that way too. But the easiest and most convenient way is a food processor.
Okay.
And the end product is basically what we have here right now. And this is
show us the texture.
It's almost like a paste,
and
it's not super runny. If you want it more runny, you just add more olive oil to it, and you're good to go.
Now, how long does this keep?
If you can refrigerate it and do not mind it changes color after time, it keeps 4 to 6 weeks easily in the refrigerator.
But it will change color?
It will turn a little bit to the darker green, almost grayish side, simply because basil hates cold.
And but the flavor is still good, and doesn't
flavor
spoil.
Will not change dramatically.
Now, you had told me before you have to cover it with olive oil.
We put a thin layer of olive oil over it to keep it from oxidation, so that it keeps it also sealed. Okay. Makes a big difference.
So when you're taking some out of your container, and you make a hole in it, you should probably put olive oil over it, so always have olive oil on top.
Yeah, just smooth the hole over and add a little bit more olive oil to it. It doesn't need to be a whole lot, just a really thin layer, just like a lid, which goes on top of the pesto. And then also you want to have a lid on the container on top of it too. You don't want to leave it open.
All right, great. If anybody has any questions, feel free to either comment on the Facebook page, or even I think this is going to go to YouTube, so they can comment on YouTube, and we'll see if you can answer any questions anybody might have. Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.